There's a queen inside one of your hives right now that you paid good money for. Maybe $40, maybe $50, plus shipping, plus the little wait by the mailbox, plus the worry when the box showed up hot and quiet. And here's the hard truth I want to start with, because nobody told me this early enough, and it cost me years of buying what my own bees could have made better. Your bees already know how to raise a queen. They have known for millions of years. They were making queens long before there was a single beekeeper on this continent, long before there were catalogs and next-day shipping, and mated queens marked with a little dot of paint. And in most cases, the queen your own colony raises on your own land from your own surviving stock will be better suited to your yard than anything you can order. I'm going to show you the forgotten method for doing this on purpose, not by accident, not by letting the hive swarm and hoping. On purpose with control, so you end up with strong, well-fed queens for free. And I mean genuinely free. No special equipment you don't already own. But first, let me tell you why this matters. Because if I don't, you'll nod along and then order 2 more queens next spring like everybody does. Roughly 8 out of 10 people who start keeping bees quit within a couple of years. They lose colonies, they get discouraged, and a big piece of that discouragement comes down to queens. A queen fails, the hive goes queenless. The beekeeper panics, orders a replacement, waits a week and a half, and by the time she arrives, the colony has already started making laying workers, or it's too weak to recover. Money gone, hive gone, heart a little broken. Now here's the part that stings. That beekeeper had sitting right there in the box everything needed to make a new queen. Young larvae, nurse bees, royal jelly, the whole factory. They just didn't know how to throw the switch. So let's throw the switch. Let me teach you the biology first, because if you understand the biology, the method becomes obvious. You won't have to memorize steps. You'll just understand what your bees are doing, and you'll help them do it. Here is the single most important fact in all of queen rearing, and I want you to really sit with it. A queen bee and a worker bee start out as the exact same egg, genetically identical. There is no such thing as a queen egg. Let me say that again, because when I first heard it, I didn't believe it. The egg that becomes a worker and the egg that becomes a queen are the same egg. The difference is entirely in how she is fed. When a worker larva hatches from that egg, the nurse bees feed her royal jelly for the first few days, then switch her over to a mix of pollen and honey. Beekeepers sometimes call it bee bread. That change in diet flips her development toward becoming a worker, smaller, sterile, built for labor. But if the colony decides that larva should become a queen, the nurse bees flood her with royal jelly. They never switch her off it. She swims in the stuff. She's fed so richly, so constantly, that her whole body develops differently. Her ovaries mature. She grows larger. She becomes a queen. Fertile, long-lived, the mother of the whole colony. Same egg, different meals, that's it. That's the secret the bees have been keeping. Scientists have even dug into why this works, and it's remarkable. Part of it comes down to what the royal jelly does to the way her genes get switched on and off. A whole field called epigenetics. The diet literally changes which instructions in her body get read. You don't need to remember the science to use the method, but I tell you this so you understand. You are not tricking your bees. You are simply giving them young larvae and a reason to raise queens, and their instincts do the rest, exactly as they've done for ages. Now, timing. This is where beekeepers get into trouble, so listen close. The bees can only turn a larva into a good queen if they start early enough. The younger the larva, the better the queen. Once a worker larva is more than about 3 days old, she's already been shifted toward being a worker, and it's too late to make a first-rate queen out of her. The bees know this. In an emergency, they'll sometimes grab a larva that's a hair too old, and you get a smaller, weaker queen, what old-timers call a scrub queen. We want to avoid that. So the whole game is about getting the bees to raise queens from very young larvae. Ideally, larvae less than a day old, floating in a little pool of royal jelly, curled like a tiny comma at the bottom of the cell. That's your raw material. That's gold. Here's the other thing you have to understand. Bees make queens in 3 situations, and knowing which is which will save you a lot of grief. The first is the emergency. The queen dies suddenly. You rolled her during an inspection, or she just gave out, and the colony realizes she's gone. Within hours, they're in a panic, and they'll start converting several worker larvae into emergency queens. These can be fine, but because they're started in a rush, sometimes from larvae a touch too old, they're a gamble. The second is supersedure. The old queen is failing, running low on eggs, laying poorly, and the bees calmly decide to replace her. Au revoir. They usually raise just a few queen cells, often right on the face of the comb. Supersedure queens are typically excellent because the bees chose the timing and picked young larvae. They weren't rushed. The third is swarming. The colony is strong and crowded and wants to reproduce by splitting. They raise a whole batch of queen cells, usually along the bottom edge of the frames, and when those cells are nearly ready, the old queen leaves with half the bees. Swarm queens are generally very good too, because again, the bees planned it. Now, here's the method, and it's beautiful in its simplicity. We're going to use the colony's own instincts on purpose. We're going to create a controlled emergency, but do it in a way that gives the bees young larvae and plenty of well-fed nurse bees, so the queens they raise are as good as any supersedure queen. This is sometimes called the Miller method, or a walk-away split, depending on how you do it. There are fancier systems out there, grafting larvae into little plastic cups and so on, and I'll talk about those honestly in a bit. But you don't need any of that to start. You need frames, bees, and a little patience. Let me walk you through the simplest version first. This is the one I'd have every new beekeeper try before they ever spend a dime on a mail-order queen. Start with a strong, healthy colony, and I mean strong. Lots of bees, lots of brood, plenty of stores coming in. This is your breeder colony, and you want to pick your best one. Not the mean one, not the sickly one. Your calmest, most productive, best wintering hive. Because remember, the queen you raise carries the traits of the colony she comes from. Choose gentle, choose healthy, choose the survivors. This is how beekeepers have quietly improved their bees for generations, by breeding from what does well right there on their own ground. Now, on a warm day in late spring or early summer, when there are drones flying, and I'll explain why drones matter in a minute, you're gonna do a split. Take a second box, an empty hive body or a nuke box. From your strong colony, move over 2 or 3 frames of brood, making sure at least one of those frames has plenty of very young larvae and eggs. You want to see those tiny commas at the bottom of the cells. Add a frame or 2 of honey and pollen, and shake in extra nurse bees. Plenty of them, because it's the nurse bees that produce the royal jelly. A queen cell with a crowd of well-fed young nurses around it will be raised in luxury. Here's the critical part. Make sure the old queen stays in the original hive. You are moving frames of brood and bees into the new box. But not her. Look for her, find her, and leave her home. If you can't find her, and she can be hard to spot, there's a trick. Because we're about to make the new box queenless on purpose. The bees in it will tell you within a day whether she's there. If they start building queen cells, she's not with them. If they don't, she is. Now close up that new box in a new spot, or at least a few feet away, and leave it alone. Here's what happens inside. The nurse bees in that new box wake up the next morning and realize there is no queen. No queen smell, what we call queen pheromone, telling them everything's fine. They go into that gentle emergency mode. They look around at the young larvae you so kindly provided. They pick several of the youngest and best, and they start feeding them royal jelly like there's no tomorrow. They build those larvae out into peanut-shaped queen cells hanging down off the comb. And because you gave them young larvae and a mob of nurse bees and plenty of food, these aren't scrub queens. These are well-raised queens. Now you wait, and you resist the urge to open the box every day. I know it's tempting. Don't do it. Every time you open it, you risk damaging a developing queen cell, and a jostled cell can mean a damaged queen. Let me give you the timeline because it's one of the most reliable rhythms in all of beekeeping, and once you know it, you'll feel like you can read the future. An egg hatches into a larva after 3 days. For a queen, from the moment that egg is laid, it takes about 16 days for her to emerge as an adult. So if your bees start with a larva that's, say, a day or two old, you're looking at roughly 11 to 13 days from the day you made your split until a virgin queen chews her way out of the cell. So here's what I want you to do. Around day 5 or 6 after the split, take one careful look. 1. Just to confirm you've got capped or nearly capped queen cells. Count them if you like. You'll often see anywhere from 2 to a dozen. Then close up and leave it be. By around day 16 from when the egg was originally laid, which for you is somewhere in that 11 to 13 day window after the split, the first virgin queen emerges. And here's a bit of drama you should know about. Usually the first queen out will seek and destroy the other queen cells, or the bees will let the strongest one win. This is normal. This is the colony making sure it ends up with one queen, the way it's supposed to. Now the virgin queen has to do her most important work. And this is where those drones I mentioned come in. A virgin queen isn't ready to lay yet. She needs to mature for a few days, and then, on a warm, calm afternoon, she'll leave the hive on what's called a mating flight. She flies out to a place where drones gather in the air. Beekeepers call these drone congregation areas. And Dr. Thomas Seeley and other researchers have studied how bees find and use these same aerial gathering spots year after year. Sometimes in the very same fields. She mates with a dozen or more drones high up in the air from other colonies in the area. Then she comes home and she carries enough stored sperm to lay eggs for the rest of her life. This is why you want drones flying when you do this. No drones, no mating, no laying queen. In most of the country, that means you're doing this from late spring through summer, when colonies are strong and drones are plentiful. Don't try to raise queens too early in the season when there are no drones in the air. And be cautious raising them too late when drone numbers crash in the fall. After her mating flight, give her time. It can take a week or even 2 from the day she emerges until you see her laying. So, from the day you made your split to the day you see fresh eggs, you might be looking at 3 to 4 weeks. Patience. I cannot say it enough. More new beekeepers ruin a homegrown queen by getting impatient and tearing the hive apart looking for eggs than by anything else. When you finally spot those eggs, one neat egg standing up in the center of each cell, a nice tight pattern, congratulations. You've just raised a queen from your own bees for free, and she's mated with your local drones, adapted to your conditions. Now let me rehook you here because there's a part most beekeepers get wrong, and it matters. When they hear walk away split, a lot of folks just yank a couple frames into a box, walk away, and hope. Sometimes it works. But here's the mistake. If you don't make sure there are young enough larvae on those frames, the bees have nothing good to work with, and they'll raise a poor queen, or none at all. And if you don't give them enough nurse bees, the queen cells get raised on a shoestring, poorly fed. So don't just walk away and hope. Walk away with young larvae and a good crowd of nurses. That one difference is the line between a scrub queen and a fine one. Here's another refinement that costs you nothing and improves your results. If you want the bees to focus their energy, you can go into that queenless box after a day and thin the eggs and larvae down so they're only raising queens from the very youngest larvae on one good frame. Some beekeepers even take a frame of eggs and gently widen or notch the comb below a row of young larvae, which encourages the bees to build queen cells right there where you can see them and where they're easy to work with. That's essentially the old Miller method and the Hopkins method, dressed up in plain clothes. You don't need it to succeed, but it gives you more control once you're comfortable. And here's the beautiful bonus. When your split has raised several capped queen cells, you don't have to let them fight it out. Before the first virgin emerges, that's the key, before she emerges, you can carefully cut out the extra queen cells, or better yet, plan ahead by splitting the box further and use those spare cells to requeen other hives or make more nukes. One strong breeder colony, handled well, can hand you half a dozen queens in a season. Think about what that's worth. Think about what you were about to spend at the catalog. Now let me be honest with you, because honesty is the only thing worth building trust on, and I've made every one of these mistakes myself. This method is not magic, and it's not foolproof. Weather can wreck a mating flight. If it turns cold and rainy for 2 weeks after your virgin emerges, she may not get out to mate in time, and a queen that goes too long unmated becomes a drone layer. She'll only lay unfertilized eggs, which become drones, and that colony is finished unless you step in. So watch your weather and watch your calendar. If it's been more than about 3 or 4 weeks and you see no worker brood, no tight pattern of eggs, only scattered drone brood in worker cells, you've likely got a failed mating. Then you step in with another cell or a frame of eggs, or, yes, at that point, a bought queen if you must. Second honest caveat. The queen you raise mates with whatever drones are in your area. You control the mother's genetics by choosing your best colony, but you don't control the father's unless you go to the trouble of instrumental insemination or isolated mating yards, which is far beyond what you or I need for a backyard operation. So if your neighborhood has hot, defensive bees, some of that can come in through the drones. In most places, this is a non-issue. Locally adapted mongrel bees are hardy and do just fine, but I won't pretend you've got total genetic control. You don't. You've got the mother's side, and that's plenty for improving your own stock over time. Third, there's a lot of romance out there about survivor queens and treatment-free beekeeping, and I want to be careful and honest with you. Breeding from your best survivors is genuinely sound, time-honored practice, and choosing gentle, healthy, well-wintering colonies to breed from will improve your bees. That much is real. But raising your own queens does not, by itself, solve your varroa mite problem. Varroa mites arrived in North America back in 1987 and changed beekeeping forever, and they will still kill a homegrown colony just as dead as a bought one if you ignore them. Some folks will tell you that raising local queens makes your bees mite resistant. The research on genuine mite resistance is real, but it's slow, careful work done over many generations by dedicated breeders. Don't let anyone sell you the idea that a walk-away split makes your mite problems disappear. It doesn't. Keep monitoring your mites. Keep managing them. I'm not going to oversell this to you. Fourth, and this one's just practical, a split weakens your breeder colony for a while because you took brood and bees out of it. In a strong hive, in good weather with a nectar flow on, it bounces right back. In a weak colony or a bad year, you can set yourself back. So only split from strength. Never rob a struggling hive to make queens. You'll end up with 2 weak hives instead of 1, and I've done exactly that in a bad June. So learn from me and don't. Let me also gently talk you out of a fear I hear all the time. I could never find the queen, so I can't do this. You don't always have to find her. Remember the trick. If you set up a queenless box and the bees build queen cells, they've told you she's not in there. And there are methods, like the ones where you use a queen excluder to separate the box the queen is in from the box you want cells raised in, that don't require you to lay eyes on her at all. Don't let queen spotting anxiety stop you. The bees will show you the answer if you set it up right and read what they do. So let's pull this all back together, because I've given you a lot, and I want you to walk away with the spine of it clear in your mind. Your bees already know how to make queens. A queen and a worker start as the same egg. The difference is entirely how she's fed, drowning in royal jelly instead of being switched over to ordinary food. The whole art is giving them young larvae, plenty of nurse bees, plenty of food, and a reason to raise queens. You create that reason by making a careful split from your strongest, gentlest, healthiest colony, leaving the old queen at home. The queenless box raises well-fed queen cells. Around 16 days from the egg, a virgin emerges. She matures, she flies out and mates with local drones, and a few weeks after you started, she's laying. A queen bred from your best stock, adapted to your land, that didn't cost you a dime. Do it in the warm months when drones are flying. Split only from strength. Be patient and keep your hands out of that box while the cells are developing. Watch your weather for the mating flight, and keep managing your mites no matter what, because a good queen can't save a colony you let the mites eat alive. I bought queens for years before I understood any of this. I stood at that mailbox worrying over a warm little box, and all the while the finest queen I could ask for was waiting to be raised in a hive I already owned. Once it clicked, it changed the way I keep bees. It'll change the way you keep them too. You'll stop feeling helpless when a queen fails because you'll know you can make another. You'll stop sending money away every spring, and you'll start quietly, season by season, breeding bees that are a little gentler, a little hardier, a little more suited to your own backyard than anything a catalog could ever ship you. That's the forgotten method. It was never really lost. It was just sitting inside your hives, waiting for you to understand it. If this was useful to you, stick around and subscribe. I've got a lot more I want to show you, from reading a frame of brood to getting your bees through winter alive. Take your time, trust your bees, and I'll see you at the next hive.